walk away, yeah, before you get hurt too bad. Look away, yeah, watching her's far too sad. And time doesn't heal nobody. The hourglass can't set you free. Love shouldn't hurt nobody, but somebody's hurt like me. Stay away, yeah. Don't you get close to me. Fade away, yeah. Living in a memory, and I wouldn't hurt nobody. Baby, won't you listen to me? Love is for somebody. Time is gonna lead her to me. I won't confuse her now. I won't try no more. Not to amuse your soul. No goodbye no more.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Shawn Will Be Here podcast, episode number 4. We've got a few episodes rolling now, and today I will be here with
AudioFlesh. Hey.
AudioFlesh, musical maestro, the region over. I have a history with you of going to your shows, of course, the iNation, everything like that. But for people who maybe this is their first exposure to you, who don't know your name off of name value alone, what do you do? What's your occupation? What's your hobby? What describe to the people who you are and why they should care.
I'm a professional DJ.
Yeah.
Do a lot of graphic arts and video editing. Basically, just AudioFlesh is my artist name overall, but it's mostly known for me doing DJing and producing music.
Hell yeah. And that's a hell of a moniker, you know. I think I'll start with one of those later questions I had, but I'll ask it now. The AudioFlesh moniker is such a interesting thing because I really feel like it really defines everything that you're trying to do in one moniker, right? How did you come up with that? How did you come up with the whole persona? Like, is it just something that you were sitting at home one day and came up with, or was it something that came up with friends, or like, how did you build your persona?
Well, it's not as crazy and cool as one would think. So I started as a VJ first, and I went under the moniker The Visual Terrorist.
Which, you know, probably hasn't aged well, but here we are.
So I mixed visuals for a long time, and then essentially what happened was I had been asked if I wanted to DJ. And the kind of VJing that I was doing was using analog equipment. So I basically had 4 channels similar to like how a lot of DJs had, and I could do alongside the DJ what they were doing, but with visual stuff. So I had different channels that had different inputs, and I would have different media or different visuals that I created for the DJ at hand. And eventually that landed me an asking of, do you want to DJ? And they weren't sure what kind of name to have. They wanted to use an email that I had since high school, which was Cap Smack, and because my last name's Capizzello.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for that at all. And I just thought, well, visual terrorist, I can't be audio terrorist.
No.
The reason is because a friend of mine, Stitch from Mushroomhead, actually had that moniker for something else. I don't remember exactly what it was.
You.
But
so already taken.
Yeah. And so I thought, well, visual terrorist, I could just do audio something. And at the time, before Walking Dead was a thing, zombie horror movies and zombie horror movie culture was still
burgeoning.
Yeah, it was not. Walking Dead had not come out yet to make it a mainstream phenomenon.
It might have been big in like video games at the time, but that's probably about it.
Right, like Resident Evil and stuff like that. And at that time, I really just was really into zombie movies. And
what did they want besides flesh, right?
Right. So I basically while coming up with the name, I just said, audio, and I would just say it with different words. That I was just watching a movie, and anytime a character said something, I just said audio and then the word that they said. And eventually a character said flesh, I said audio flesh out loud. I said that's it.
Yeah, it just stuck.
And then it kind of, I kind of thought a little bit more about it, but it kind of means like sound skin.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought like, well, I'm wearing music as like my thing, and that's how...
Wear it on your sleeve, right?
Right.
Make it part of your branding. So how long have you been doing this for? Music production, graphic arts, like how long?
Well, DJing next year will be my 20th anniversary behind the decks. Graphic arts I've been doing for longer than that, probably since I was in junior high.
Yeah.
And I've been doing video editing for quite a long time, mostly because my dad just ended up getting a program when I was younger, and luckily he saw that I was creative in that world, and that's where it came from.
Yeah, I'm still, the content creation game for me is something that I'm relatively new to, as everyone who just probably saw my ass trying to, fix the screen over there knows. I'm still working out a lot of, creative issues or like mistakes here and there, or small little parts of the process that I might forget here and there. Obviously, being a DJ, that's a lot of talent. For one, you have to know levels, you have to know like different channels, like how to make certain BPMs match each other, right? And how to like know that the visuals are going to look well on top of it. But a lot of that as well has to do with your equipment, right? So like, what equipment now are you working with compared to where you started? And how important is it for you when you're performing to know that your equipment is going to be dependable and reliable?
Well, clearly it's important in any fashion that your equipment works.
Of course.
I usually use Pioneer stuff, mostly because it's been kind of the club standard. Most clubs have a house Pioneer system of some sort. But I mean, DJing overall, if you know your stuff, you can virtually play on just about anything, and I have played on everything from little toy controllers to, bigger controllers at festivals. They all do the same thing. I mean, I guess it'd be the equivalent if you asked a guitarist to pick up a toy guitar, and, Van Halen could make a toy guitar sing.
Exactly. But I'm sure that the cost of the equipment is a huge financial barrier for some people, right? Because the more specific you get into like what you want your tools to do, the more specialty things get, the more the price always seems to go up. For you as a DJ, do you think that like having the most expensive equipment, having the most like new stuff is important, or do you think like it doesn't matter if your shit's 20 years old as long as your tubes sound good?
It just depends, I think, on the person and where they play and how they play. So, for instance, I've bought secondhand DJ controllers.
Yeah.
Just this year, I bought my first brand new controller, and instead of going big, which I could have done, I really decided to stay with a Pioneer XR3 or RX3 rather. And the reason is because it's an all-in-one controller, and it's not super advanced compared to other controllers. It's not like the Pioneer CDJ 3000s.
Right.
Or some other cool things that like Newmark puts out and other companies put out. But it had all the tools that I personally like working with. And if you know the basic of that, you can use just about any other kind of equipment. So I decided that was a good thing. And for a while, I considered possibly getting the CDJ 3000 simply just based on if you play big festivals and stuff, that is what you usually play on. But I just decided I don't need it for my everyday, and I usually play like the techno clubs and the goth industrial clubs anyway.
Yeah.
So I just actually a lot of the house DJs kind of paid attention to them, and they always had their own equipment all the time, and I just decided, no, that's the move for me. I can still play on anything, so it doesn't matter. I just want to have what I want to have when I'm ready to do my thing.
Make sure that you're comfortable and you know the tools you're working with when it's time to go.
Right.
Completely understand. I've been, in a similar vein, I've been trying my best to produce more stand-up material for myself out there online. Sorry, guys, if you can hear that scratching noise. That's my cat. She loves to scratch at the walls. But I've been like taking this equipment around and like filming in different venues and stuff, and I've come to learn that like one of my biggest challenges when going from venue to venue is the acoustics, right? No sound plays the same way in the same bar twice, in my opinion, right? And I've filmed whole nights of shows thinking my camera equipment, my microphones, or all that, we're gonna like at least have something salvageable at the end. And then I get home and everything sounds like a mess, right? So how do you, being a DJ, being somebody who performs in all these clubs, how do you tackle the challenge of acoustics for various venues? Like, how do you alter or change up how you're going to perform depending on what the venue has available?
Well, most of the venues already, because they're venues built for that kind of thing, they're already ready for that kind of thing. So
which is, very nice. I wish we had more venues built for comedy.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not necessarily a lot of stuff I got to do. I can pretty much plug and play. And you're right in the fact that certain venues just sound better because they're built that way. But at the end of the day, if someone pays me to come in and play, whether the venue sounds good or not is irrelevant, because if they said, hey, you want to play. Some
right.
of them have very nice speakers. I'm fortunate to play in venues that are nicely set up, but I've certainly spent a lot of years playing with very shitty equipment as well.
Oh, yeah. And same here as gone to different bars for different comedy. I think that's a thing that all performers at different venues have in common, is that sometimes you can be on the ball and it's just not even your fault. The venue will fuck you over with the acoustics or with the equipment. Like, if it's... And it's not even intentional. I don't mean like the venues are intentionally fucking people over. I mean like equipment failures, Like the microphone just stops working. Whoops!
Right.
What are you going to do? And, I'm sure everyone has that. But, moving on, we've talked a lot about it, but like... specifically for people who like maybe are a little bit more old-fashioned or whatever, to try to explain what it is you do to somebody who thinks being a DJ is just, like pressing spacebar on a keyboard or like queuing up songs and taking requests. What is it that makes it more artisan for you? What is the difference between like a DJ that just takes requests and sits there with their laptop at a bar versus what you do, which is the show, the performance of DJing?
Well, I would probably start this by saying, as I get older, I really appreciate the places of where I come from, and I see people older than me that are DJs that are very they guard their shit way too much, and I kind of laugh at that. There's DJs that will complain about like, oh, you use the sync button and ha ha ha. And the sync button, essentially, if you don't know what that means, is it makes sure that both sides that you're playing have the exact same BPM. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of old heads will be like, well, that's not real DJing if you have to rely on that. But I also find that a lot of those old heads don't know a lot of new tricks.
Exactly.
And there's things that you can utilize that sync button for that I think a lot of people, they don't think about. Yeah, there's a difference between, say, like a wedding DJ, like obviously karaoke people, and kind of what I do. But what I like about, as you said, the artisan side of it is just the layering of stuff. When I started, I was like a track selector.
Yes.
I didn't mix as well because I was just learning. So it would be like the front end of a song mixed with the tail end of another song and hope that it goes well. And as I get older, I see so many people hating on people that do that stuff, and I'm just not a hater in that regards. Like I think everyone is where they're at, and I've been to plenty of clubs where the most skilled DJ has nothing on the person that knows their crowd, and they might play a whole song front to back, and their crowd is packed and eating it up. And in that regard, I mean, there is no right or wrong other than, is the crowd happy? Sure. So for the art side, I like to layer a lot of different sounds and use effects, and I like to manipulate stuff in a way where people don't know necessarily what's going to happen next, or if something does happen, they are curious as to what's going to follow that. I think is maybe the easiest way to say
Keep people guessing as they're dancing.
Right, so...
Never let them know your next move type of thing.
Yeah, so like when I started my career, there was a lot of, I'd play a lot of tracks that more or less people were familiar with.
Yeah.
Now, I'm more interested in providing a vibe based on stuff that sound comfortable and familiar to the person, but not necessarily anything that they know.
Trying to expand horizons in a gentle way, kind of.
Yeah, I would say it's like, instead of like, if tracks were movies,
yeah,
I'm not going to play you Halloween 2 followed by, Friday the 13th. But if you like, say, 80s horror, I'll give you that vibe based on, say, the sounds. And you can use your imagination at your will to do what you want for it.
So let's talk about soundscape. Let's talk about how you create your performance, how you create your mixes and things like that. When you sit down to make a new track, make a new mix, however you want to phrase it, what typically is like your go-to inspiration? Like, what sounds attract you the most? What ear candies really get into your head?
That's a hard question. It's a good question. I really just like everything.
Bland answer, boring answer, but we'll take it.
Well, I can extrapolate on that a bit.
Please do. Please extrapolate.
So, I play a lot of different genres. I'm mostly known to play like the goth industrial techno clubs.
Right.
But I also play EDM sometimes, and within a duo group that I'm a part of called Wookslayer. And that's kind of where I get to flex my EDM dubstep finesse a little bit, because the mixing is different. And that is the kind of fun thing is, I'll hear DJs in a certain group, they'll hate on dubstep DJs. Yeah. And everyone hates on the general shit, but...
everyone's always shitting on the mainstream. Everyone's a hipster in some regard, right?
Well, the dubstep DJs, the thing about a lot of them is they mix very quick.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that they do, just the muscle memory is quicker. So I found when I started doing EDM and bass music that it was helping me. And I kind of got bored with the goth industrial dark techno stuff. And then honestly, when I kind of came back to it, I realized how much my skill set had improved. So when you say like what kind of sounds, on the dark club side, I really like the analog sounds of like 909s and 303s, 808s, the classic acid sounds of old school traditional rave, basically, and like industrial.
A lot of synth, a lot of...
Right.
Yeah.
And then, for more EDM stuff, like, it's not really any different. It's just, I would think that there's just more textured sounds. Like the sounds are a little more complicated.
Yeah, it's like apples and oranges, but it's not like comparing apples and oranges. It's like comparing orange soda with the same brand of apple soda. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like they are part of the same product. They are delivered in the same way, but very different flavors for sure.
So I would say I just like music across the board.
Yeah.
Like if you were to tell me to make a set for country, it wouldn't be my favorite thing.
But you could do it.
But I would figure out something that works and that I'm proud to present.
Yeah.
And then in that regard, I just like to present. I like the challenge. Someone like tonight, this will air after tonight.
Yeah.
But it's my buddy Paul. It's his 50th birthday.
DJ Havoc, right?
Yeah. He's got nice calves, by the way. His calves are swole. Like, I don't know how he got calves like that.
I can, as somebody who's seen Paul in shorts, I can confirm. I can confirm.
Well, he looks good for 50. He probably sleeps upside down, and he drinks blood.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks good for 50, but to celebrate his birthday, he wanted to do, like, a new metal versus industrial metal night.
Yeah.
And I usually wouldn't do a gig like this anymore, but I just thought it would be a fun way to kind of flex the older side of me, but with new skill set.
Yeah, and when a friend asks for their birthday,
right.
It makes it a little harder to say no.
Right.
So fuck you, Paul. No, we love you, Paul. But that being said, you've definitely done a lot when it comes to mixing, when it comes to visual production and all that stuff. What do you do when you're not on stage, when you're not performing? Is there any hobbies you have that don't involve making music? Like, do you do anything to unwind when you're away from the stage?
Well, I think an earlier question that maybe I didn't fully answer, that I'll answer now, is that there is a lot. You got to build crates, and you got to collect music.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be inspired by music, and you got to, sometimes when you're on that journey of figuring out what music you get for the night, you come across other music.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, well, this is the kind of music if anyone wants me to play a fucking boat party.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of putting things to the side there. But yeah, trying to figure out what sounds great together, what's the vibe you're looking for. There's hours, there's a lot of money sometimes.
Oh, yeah. But that's again, still part of the creation aspect of it. What I'm specifically asking is when you step away from that, when you are just, I don't want to do anything right now, I just want to, like, relax and I want to chill and wind down. Like, do you have any hobbies that aren't music related?
Probably kayaking.
Kayaking?
I like kayaking. I probably watch a lot of pro wrestling.
Oh, hell yeah. Ironically enough, I did not plan for this at all, but pro wrestling has seemed to be a theme that has happened throughout these episodes lately. I had Dave Crumbly on last week. He's a huge mark. And I had, the week before that, indie wrestler Paris McQueen was on. And we had a drag queen on the first episode, and even then I made some comparisons between drag and wrestling.
Right.
Funny enough, do you like AEW?
Yes.
Thank you. Finally. It took 3 episodes.
I will say this into the camera. I think AEW is the best wrestling company going right now.
Yes!
And I like all wrestling companies. I watch them all.
Oh my god, it took 4 episodes, but I finally have somebody who prefers AEW on the show. I'm a huge AEW mark, for sure. Even though you wouldn't believe that with me having this fucking $500 belt right here that my roommate bought for
I'm also
the show.
Samoan, so
yeah.
I cannot not like the Bloodline stuff.
Well, listen, the Bloodline was probably WWE's best generational story in years.
Right.
I can't debate with that at all. That being said, moving on from the fun stuff back into the more what you do for a living type of thing. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, and we've mentioned it here and there. But for anybody who hasn't had the pleasure of attending one of these events yet, what is the iNation, and why is it so important to people like me and you who have come up in this community?
So, the iNation started originally was iGun. It was Industrial Gothic Underground Night. It was started by the Godfather. Mm-hmm. And basically, I'm giving you because I could talk days about this.
Oh, yeah.
So this is really just like the short and skinny version of it. That eventually molded into the iNation. and we all kind of consolidated everything. Part of that reason is so many people that were part of iGun with him had decided we didn't want to leave the history. We wanted to include the history.
Yeah.
And that also kind of comes with the community at large. iNation has always been an inclusive community.
Yeah, because how long has it been around for?
We'll be 26 years next year. We're in 25 right now.
And that's insane because as a 28-year-old, I'm in this community.
Oh, we might be on 26. I don't know.
Yeah.
My ticker's getting old, so we might be in 26, 27 might be next year.
This community's almost as old as I am, and I only joined it maybe about halfway through because of that, right?
Right. I came in probably... I attended as a patron first.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was rummaging about wanting to DJ, and I actually didn't think that I wanted to do that. I really didn't. I had kind of an interest, but not necessarily. Nothing was driving me that direction, essentially. But iNation has been a community. It started in Bowling Green. And it's just an inclusive place where people can just be themselves. I think especially with everything going on in the world right now, that's getting harder and harder, and I think that the imprint is starting to become a little bit more important. And it's we take a lot of pride, everyone there. We take a lot of pride because we do realize how the world is going, and it's important for people that want to be themselves to have a place, especially when people are telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, for people who may not have ever been to one of these events before, or just hear the phrase EDM or Goth Industrial Night or whatever, and I can already just imagine, somebody's pearl-clutching aunt hearing that and just imagining half-naked bodies and everyone's drunk and on some type of illicit substances or whatever. Is the scene that people would imagine from, a TV show or something... Is the scene as wild and as crazy as that in real life? Or is that just a giant over-exaggeration of events?
Both. It just depends on the person. I mean, we certainly have groups of people that are doing this for as long as I have. I've seen unfortunate stories where people get into the throes of substances and they end up where they don't want to be. But I've also seen a lot of people get married successfully and go on, and I still, a lot of us still get letters from people and people saying, hey, they did this. So I look at it no different than, there's people that go in any kind of community and have a great time, and it is kind of what you make it a lot of times, and a lot of times that doesn't work out for some people.
I think it's, music scenes in general, I think get wrongly so, overly inflated or infused with the idea of drug culture. People think set's drug and rock and roll, right? So if there's going to be any type of music, there's always drugs involved and whatever. And I'm going to be really honest with you, because of course, there have been people who I'm a stoner. I will smoke weed before I go to a music event. And there's nothing necessarily even wrong with that or enjoying a few libations at the event or whatever. But there are definitely people who would say that, having these events in places invites that type of chaos. I would argue the opposite. What do you think?
I would argue that those people are fucking stupid.
Same.
I would argue that they're objectively stupid.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. I don't really have, a good analogy for it, but off the top of my head, it would be, he said that fucking a Snickers bar is evil. She decided not to eat it based on what he said. But there's literally no evidence to prove it.
Right. It's all he said, she said, all speculative, all stereotyping, all just, people not understanding because they haven't been exposed to it, right?
Yeah, I get that people are uncomfortable. There are people that come, they're scantily dressed.
Oh, yeah.
They choose to be. It's no different than a top 40 club. It's no different, really, than, it's a public place. If someone comes and dresses that way, as far as I'm concerned, it's their fucking business.
And it's their personal choice and freedom.
And
right?
if you don't like the way they look, don't fucking look. And if you like the way they look, look at it like the sun.
Yeah. Not directly at it.
Right.
You know, don't be a fucking creep.
And to be fair, if you're going to dress like that, I mean, I would imagine naturally people are going to look like you.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to look at you.
I mean, we've all seen the meme online of everyone wants a big titty goth girlfriend, right? That being said, like, obviously, we're not encouraging anyone to come into these communities and harass anyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things where if somebody wants to, you know, sometimes people dress sexy for themselves.
Right.
You know? So it's maybe it's just I don't want to wear sweaty clothes while I'm dancing all night, so I'm wearing less clothes to not be sweaty.
Right.
You know, it could be something as simple as that. Maybe some people do want attention, maybe they don't. It's the whole thing of like just be respectful in any community. Right?
I just think it's great to see people trying to be themselves.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that anybody, as you get older, truly knows how you'll end up being later. And I say that because I have plenty of friends who, a lot of free spirits when they were younger, and now they're as like postured straight. I will follow the rules as much as possible, and good for them. But the thing is they also have their ideas of what things should be, and a lot of times I find out that that's because, in my opinion, they will look at that time in their life, and whatever they didn't get out of that time in their life, they will blame on the thing
that they were doing.
And it's a scapegoat for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't believe that whatsoever. I'm not saying that being in the music scene past a certain age, one way or the other, it doesn't matter. I mean, it works for you or it doesn't, but it doesn't mean you need to shit on it.
Right, just because you didn't have fun partying with everybody and enjoying the music scene doesn't mean that there weren't people who got legitimate community out of it.
Right.
Like, I would not be here now having you on my show if it wasn't for the fact that, like, for example, I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, and this podcast is about being here and appreciating the moment, right? So I should just give some context here. I used to live in a community-funded group home here in Bowling Green. I'm not going to get into too specifics about it because I'm supposed to keep a lot of that on the DL, and I don't want to like dox the program or anything like that. But I will say it was at a point in my life where essentially I could no longer live with my family. I could no longer support myself, and I had to have help, right? And really, that's when I started discovering the iNation as a community. That's when I really started to like really come into my own here, was when I had no one else. So I would not be having you on this show if the iNation as a whole, as a community, did not benefit me in the long term. Have I met people who have like, you know, showed up and they just wanted to party, they just wanted to like be crazy and wild? Yes. But half the time, the thing that I find the most magical about the community you guys have built is that everyone seems to really take care of each other. Everyone seems to really like, I have seen so many fights happen because like dudes come into the bar and just won't leave girls alone.
Right.
And then somebody else steps up and they're like, you're not going to act like that to our friends.
Right.
You know? And there's this fierce sense of loyalty to each other that like, if nobody's got you, we've got you. You know what I mean? And 100% the music, of course, right? The fact that I could go there and like no matter what's in my head, I could just turn my brain off, wreck my body for the next 3 days, and just destroy myself, busting out the worst dance moves you've ever seen in a club. That's important, right? So, in your experience, do you feel the same? Do you feel that like these alternative communities, these niche little get-togethers are important for building community?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a simple question. I probably should have expanded a bit more on it. It's like, how important overall do you think it is for people to have events like these where they can come and meet people of like different ilks and different mindsets?
Well, as I was saying kind of earlier, especially now, as the government takes over more freedoms,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have these places and I've noticed an uptick actually. iNation's on fire right now. We're starting to add more stuff to our calendar. Our friends up north, both Smalls and City Club, respectfully, business is going up there. I moved to Columbus. The Columbus goth scene is killing it right now. There's like 9 fucking different nights down there.
Oh yeah.
Since he's doing well, and I've got friends across the country, and all the nights are seeing an uptick, and I think that...
You do not know how bad I wish I had a car, because I'll see photos and videos coming out of those events in like Cincinnati and Columbus, and I'll be sitting there on Facebook like eating a tub of ice cream, like, why can't I be there? I missed out. It's worth going to. So if you're in the Columbus and Cincinnati area, definitely go to these events. The community's worth it. Also, you know, like, I find that even if you're not one for dancing or the music sometimes, there's always, you know, at least in the venues that I've seen iNation shows at, there's always at least some place where you can go off to the side with some friends, get some drinks, and just talk.
Right.
And that's so important now, right? Because of the fact that, like, the government, like you said, is taking over a lot of what we can say, where we can say it, how we can say it. Sorry, my cat distracted me. She's being a gremlin today. But, having these places where you can go in person just to, like, disconnect from the online world, disconnect from the algorithm, you know what I mean? And actually get to calibrate your brain with another person's brain. You know what I'm saying? Just like, hey, am I crazy or is this how you feel too? Type of thing, right? That's important. But what would you say is your favorite thing about the iNation as a whole? Like, is it the community? Is it the music? Is it just the traveling? Is it the friends you've made along the way? Like, what is it? Or, heck, just DJing in general?
A little bit of all of it. I'll say that I really enjoy the community simply because I feel, especially at my age now, that I've seen people grow up.
Yeah.
Those people have also seen me grow up.
Oh, yeah.
And all my things that I've gone through in my life, I've grown up within that community. So they've had my back, and I try my best to have their back. It's important.
Again, it's that ride or die.
And it's important for those voices to be up there. I try my best to be brave and have a voice, but I'm not always. Sometimes I feel, despite being very Samoan, I feel very small within myself. And it's been the iNation community that's kind of reminded me, like, hey, you're worth way more than you're giving yourself credit for. I've had a lot of people. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of friends, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of best friends.
Oh, yeah.
I would say more than the average person because of that community. And that's not even just the iNation community. I mean, I'm finding that out in Columbus right now.
Yeah. I mean, you just came back from Lost Lands with the Wood Slayer, like you were talking about earlier. How was that for an experience? How was Lost Lands?
Lost Lands was great for similar reasons. And it's because people go to that festival. Now, a big festival, just by the numbers, someone's going to have a bad time. And it's not fair for them. I feel for them because people spend a lot of money and a lot of time prepping for this weekend of time to let everything go.
Oh, yeah.
And not everyone has a great time, but most people seemingly do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's for those same reasons, is you're around people who are not necessarily there to judge you for anything other than, do you like music? Are you trying to get away from a crippling socio-political thing happening?
Are you trying to find a community where it doesn't matter who you are or how you see yourself, you can just be here?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, Lost Lands was excellent. I ended up playing an impromptu AudioFlesh set.
Hell yeah.
Which was fun. So it's my, this year was my third Lost Lands and my fourth set at Lost Lands. And I couldn't be happier and more. I know it's like weird to say these days if people feel odd, but I do feel blessed about it because coming up in goth industrial clubs, I've played a lot more empty rooms than I haven't. And I've probably got a lot of the coolest shows I've ever played because I played in front of nobody except the bar staff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but you just should not care. It's like, it's the ability to play on a cool system, even if it's in front of nobody. And chances are, a lot of tours and stuff go through bars and clubs.
Yeah.
The bar staff meet those people. If you're good, eventually one of those people will notice you and they'll be like, I know who you need to talk to. And so I've gotten a lot of gigs, honestly, from being just nice.
And heck, even as a comedian myself, I've also performed for crowds of sometimes nobody, right? But even if you're performing for just one person, that's one person you get to perform for, you know what I mean? That's such a huge honor that's even one person would take their time out of their day. Because that's, we screw economy shit, like screw currency. The real currency everyone worries about is time, right? So if somebody takes like a couple of hours of their day to come to a show that nobody else came to, and you know what, if they had a good time, good, right? You got booked, you got paid, and you made sure that your audience had a good time.
I think what's great too is if you perform well in front of 1, 2, 3 people, if they're there when you perform in front of 1, 2, 300 people,
oh yeah,
then 1, 2, 3,000 people.
Yeah.
I had an old friend. I started going to the club before I was a DJ with them.
It's a domino effect, right?
And they were there to see me when I started, when I fucked up, when I didn't do so well, and then they were at Lost Lands and they were watching my set, and I was playing in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Yeah. Which has to be nerve-wracking.
Really, no.
No, wow.
In the first years, it was. The first years, it was because I thought I just had imposter syndrome, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And I just thought, how do I even belong here? Like the biggest clubs that I've played up until this point, like maybe 900 people. Maybe 1,000.
That's the one credit I will give to the current administration. I'm not a fan of them at all. But if there's one thing I will say, it kind of cured my imposter syndrome seeing actual imposters run things. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. Well, the fake fraud comedians that think we're getting rid of comedy. And it's like, no, you're just getting rid of logic.
No, yeah, it's, God forbid, it's legitimately, we're not going to get too political. We're not going to get too into it because, I'm trying to make this watchable for everybody.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But listen, I've also not been shy about what I believe and anything like that at all. But I will say, music is one of those things that, like, is important because it's a form of expression. It is a form of the First Amendment right. And, one of the biggest things I think I want to ask is, like, when it comes to expressing yourself, is music like the top tier of expression? Or like if you had to categorize it, do you think that like something that can be said is better when it's sang? Like, do you think adding a beat and backtracking to words elevates it? Like, how do you think of music? Is it a heightened level of speech? Is it a higher form of expression? Or is it just, like, sometimes just nice things to listen to when you're doing other things?
I would say music's a saturator.
Mm.
If you're having a bad time, like, for instance, for me, if I have anxiety and a happy song comes on, I usually get more anxiety.
Yeah.
I usually feel like, I don't feel good. This song is forcing me to feel something that I don't feel right now, and it saturates that, in my opinion. Now, if I'm having a good time, there's some damn good jams coming on, I feel in the opposite direction very good about that stuff.
Yeah, I have noticed that myself, is that depending on what mood I'm in, it already kind of biases me to what song I want to listen to in my playlist.
Right.
How do you, like, when you're playing for a room full of people, how do you, like, keep your head on straight enough to, like, be able to read the room's vibe? You know what I mean? How do you, like, not just guess wrong? You know what I mean? Like, how do you keep everything going and keep everything steady without tiring people out?
Well, just ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But I also think that just comes from failing a lot. I like to maintain the idea to fuck up sometimes. Sometimes I like to fuck up on purpose. And I say that I will know a track might not work, or I'll think I'll know that it won't work. And I'll play it, and it might work. Or if it doesn't, I know what to do next.
Right.
Like, this is not the vibe, you need to change it. But I just...
trial and error, scientific process, right?
Well, I think a lot of people fail by proxy of choice. There's too many choices for them, so they don't know what to pick.
So they don't pick anything.
And they don't pick anything. They just stay stagnant. For me, I used to be that person. That's the thing. Like, a lot of these things that I do now are the opposite of what I used to do. And it was because of anxiety, because of imposter syndrome. But I've decided more or less, like, is this the wrong thing? I don't know. Figure it out. Do it. Oh, it fucking failed. Well.
Oh, well.
The faster you fail, the faster you can redirect yourself into the right direction. So
again, you know, this is funny how I keep finding similarities between what we do, even though they're so different. But like, that's how it works in comedy too, right? Like, I have a joke about suicide, right? And that's a very hard topic to get a crowd of people to laugh at. You know, it's especially it's a sensitive subject, it's a thing like that. But my whole gimmick of it is that I had to make it funny, because that's a thought that I've struggled with, right? So if I'm struggling with it, other people have to be struggling with it, and I have to find funny in it somewhere. Because for me, I laugh at my pain a lot. I find that's a healing thing. But that being said, there's a lot of times I'll go out there on stage and a joke won't be ready yet, and I'll tell it, and I'll get a little bit more sadness from the audience than I intended, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they'll not want to laugh because they'll feel too ingrained in my struggle. And that's, you know, obviously we all have our struggles, right? I've had my mental health struggles, I've had health struggles. I hope you don't mind me asking. I probably should have asked this before the camera started rolling, but you've mentioned yourself that you've had some health struggles yourself. Mm-hmm. Is there anything about that you mind opening up about? Like what you've been dealing with specifically, if you don't mind, or like how it's affected your quality of life and everything like that?
Yeah, I don't mind. I think honestly it's given me perspective, if anything. A lot of people in their 20s have their 20s to kind of go wild. Not to say that I didn't, but I was a lot more conservative in my partying. A lot of that because I had cancer twice. And then there was a time, I don't know, probably in 2018, I was in a bad spot. My mom had passed away, and I was in a very bad place, and then I had a mass on my brain, and my lungs weren't doing well, and I found out that was stress. My neurologist and the 7 other doctors I had ended up telling me, no, we just think that it was stress. And my neurologist, who did not need to talk to me for an hour every time I showed up, really did his due diligence. In fact, I wish I would have become more friends with that guy, because he helped me out. But he just says, what are you doing that's changed you from the last time I saw you? And I said, playing music. And he said, whatever you're doing, you do what makes you happy. He's like, forget everything else, do what makes you happy.
Which is, you know, easy advice to give, but harder to follow.
Hard to follow when you're lost. When people feel lost or depressed, the thing is they don't have their compass. They don't fucking know where they're at, where they want to be, even though the answers are in front of them. And that's not anything that anyone necessarily can provide them. They got to see it for themselves.
No one gives you a map for this shit.
Right. What were you saying?
I was asking specifically, shit, now I don't remember. Now I don't remember what I asked.
Quit smoking weed.
Yeah, it's, God damn it, the stoner brain. I think I was asking about your health and how it's like informed your work now.
Well, then recently, the last calendar year, so in November, I had heart surgery. Apparently when you're a baby, you have a hole in your heart. As you grow, the hole closes. Mine never closed.
That's not good.
And I had just noticed the last time I actually got COVID, doing light stuff like going up my staircase was just significantly harder than it needed to be. To the point where I ended up going to the doctor for it, and they ended up finding out, like, you have this hole in your heart. And they said, well, if we fix it up, you should feel better about stuff. I found that out because Lost Lands is a fucking crazy amount of acres of land with a lot of treacherous terrain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
large hills and a lot of dirt.
A lot of hiking.
Last year I had a hard time doing all that. And I think anybody does. It's a hard place to walk around.
Oh, yeah. I would not be able to do that trip without at least both of my walking boots and, like, 2 sets of crutches.
Right. So I ended up, this year was fine, and it's because my heart got healed, but it's hard to do. And then I recently had bladder cancer surgery. They removed 2 tumors from my bladder, which, I mean, it wasn't it wasn't fun. Let's just say they stick things in holes that usually don't get things stuck in.
Yeah, let's... Captain, we're docking. But, yeah, it's definitely not a fun situation, of course. How's your health now?
I think I'm on the right side of everything, it seems. I'm sure I'll have to go get some checkups, as you should.
Right. I think, I don't remember who said it first, but I saw a Hank Green video who recently went through his own cancer treatment on YouTube. And I think I remember hearing him say something about, you never really beat cancer. You're just free of it for now. And they kind of have to keep checking forever.
I agree with that. My mom passed away of cancer. I had that, and then she had it. She survived the first time. She did not the second.
Right.
This is my 3rd time, and I seem to have survived it thus far. But it's always on my mind. And then there's got to be a time where I think, and easier for me to say, and it's only easier for me to say because I'm in the position to say it. Not everyone is. I lost an old friend from school earlier this year to cancer. And we had talked a little bit, and he was asking me for advice, and I had to be upfront with him and let him know what you're going through is a little more difficult than what I had to go through. And I went through some stuff, but I can't give you guidance on that.
No.
The only thing that I can say is you have to do your best to keep positive. Like there is no choice. Like you either be positive or you don't, but something's going to happen. And I think I learned that from my mom. Honestly, her journey.
Yeah, there's a I think I quoted it last time as a joke in the last episode, but specifically there's this philosopher who's the father of absurdism I like to read a lot, by the name of Albert Camus. And he once wrote that, he wrote this book called The Myth of Sisyphus. It's about the Greek god who's, like, a Greek figure who's ordained to push a boulder up Mount Olympus all of his days. Like, that's, a lot of people see life as that, as it's this eternal punishment where we're struggling, we're pushing the boulder. Hi, kitty! She really wants attention. I'm in the middle of a podcast, you gremlin. I was saying something smart, damn it. She can't see her, she's off camera, but she's here and she's rolling around like a little gremlin. A lot of people see life as that hard Sisyphean struggle of pushing the boulder up the hill, right? And Albert Camus, as an absurdist philosopher, writer, he kind of wrote the phrase, one must imagine Sisyphus happy, right? Because no matter what you're struggling and what you're going through, happiness is kind of a choice, you know what I mean? You can either choose to dwell on your surroundings and how things are going, or you can make the most of what you have, right? And I really admire that even when you were on more of your health struggles and whatever, the community, I still saw you as a leader of that, right? And it takes a lot. I know you see yourself as, a lot of people see you and you're a big, strong Samoan, and maybe you don't see yourself as, as big as you just mentioned, but, legitimately, you are a pillar of the community when it comes to that. And I know everyone out there who knows you wants your health to stay good, wants that to be all said and done. Because fuck cancer, right? Right. But enough enough metaphorically sucking your dick. Now back to the
We don't have to get to literal sucking my dick either.
No, that's for the Patreon bonus episodes. Ooh, I don't have a Patreon. No, that's a joke, obviously. But, moving on. What are some more simple questions here? Some more basic questions. What are some of your favorite tracks to spin? Like, first thing, you get up to the set, you can play any track you want. What are you playing?
Ooh. What's the setting?
Oh, shoot. I don't... See, now you're asking me questions, and I'm like, I didn't prepare.
I would say, honestly...
Any setting, whether it be a more goth club, a more EDM vibe, just like any setting that
universally, I like to play probably anything by Gesaffelstein off of his album Aleph.
Nice. That's a deep pull.
So, because it's just got a classic. It's like a modern. It's great modern production of classic sounds.
Yeah.
And it works. I've played it in front of the goth industrial clubs, and I've also played it at Lost Lands in front of EDM kids, and everyone loves it.
It's a vibe, as the kids say.
It's just timeless. It's a timeless sound.
Yeah. Scratch that. I did not just say, as the kids say. I'm not even 30 yet. I can't be that fucking old.
Dang, how old are you?
I'm 28. So, like, almost 30, right?
Still smell like breast milk and Pampers, dog.
Dude, it's insane because, like, I'm at that age now, like, how old are you now?
42.
Dude, it's insane. That's fucking hard to think about because it's like, I still remember when, I was a iNation baby, as we call them, right? I was 18, coming to the bar, just for the music, because being an outcast, you do the thing where you're like, you find one interest you have, and then you hope to God there's community around it already. And I got lucky with it when it comes to the iNation, that was provided. But it's insane to think that, like, now you're kind of a journeyman when you think of it at this point, and because I've seen you, like, I've seen DJs come and go from our local scene, and a lot of those people, I think, have probably picked up some things from you, right, along the way, or you've picked up things from other DJs as well. So to anyone out there who might be listening who, like, hasn't tried DJing before, or has maybe thought about mixing some tracks, or hell, just even downloading, like, Bandcamp, or not Bandcamp, that's an app, or downloading, like, GarageBand is what I was thinking of, or like Fruity Loops, and like messing around with some stems and some tracks and whatever. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about fucking around with this type of thing? What's some advice you would give to a newbie?
Quit waiting.
Quit waiting?
Quit waiting. Get into it. I find too many people. Over the course of time, you meet a lot of people that have a lot of ideas, a lot of good ideas. Ideas don't mean shit if they're not in motion.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's guilty to some extent with that. I have a lot of ideas, and I don't always. There's a time where I'm sleeping, it's 3 a.m., and I got an idea for a song I want to make, and I get up, and I'm right on the computer. It's time to get that shit plotted out, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes I wake up the next morning, and I go, what the fuck
did I make? Yeah, I relate to that, because I haven't mentioned this, but I'm also an animator and an artist. I'm working on a cartoon. I'll send you links and stuff later. Shh. But I 100% relate to that because 3 a.m.'s the witching hour, right? I don't know what the hell it is, but there's something about like 3 a.m. not... Hey! Hey! We're recording!
Turntablist over there.
Yeah. She's trying to wicky on my freaking shelf.
Fucking playing Italian, marinara.
Yeah. Don't mark your territory now. I'm recording. You're the star of the show, huh? Anyway. Freaking... You come here. You come here. You come here. I want to put you on camera. Come here. Ha! Gotcha. Ah. See? Happy? You're the star of the show now. Run away! I completely lost my train of thought because of her. What the hell was I saying?
I don't know.
Hey, thanks, Kat.
I think it was something about, I don't know, people wanting to get started, basically.
Yes. What was your advice? We talked about them not waiting, just do it now, right?
I also think just learning the actual craft and kind of appreciating the history. Like,
yes. Is there any starting places, like any starter equipment you'd specifically recommend, or like starter programs that people could fuck around with?
There's so many. There's apps on fucking phones now where you can DJ, which I'm not going to hate on anyone that does it, because a lot of people don't have the money to get equipment, and if that's where you need to start,
yeah,
I just think it's smart for you to not end on like, oh yeah, I only DJ'd from my phone or strictly just from my laptop. Like, I like the tactile, being able to touch knobs and use faders, and knowing, like when I make this knob or program something even, that I'm pushing the button and it happens when it happens. A lot of people, I'm not a turntablist by any means, but there are people that are so phenomenal at what they do. A lot of them are a little highfalutin about that, and my thing is, I have no problem if you have pride that you are better and that you have carried this tradition, but if you're not willing to educate people on how to do that, then I really think like you're the king of nothing. Like, cool, you're really good at your thing, but
what are you giving back?
What are you giving back? But also, a lot of the people that say those things are the lonely people, and it's like, if you're not trying to help a community of people learn, who's your competition? You're the king of who?
Yeah. You can be the greatest of all time at any given, sport, performance, activity, whatever. You could be the best of the best, but if you're not also willing to turn around and like look at somebody who's up and coming and go, now let me show you how you can beat me or be better than me. You know what I mean? Because that's the whole goal of living, right? Is to have experiences now and then use that knowledge to like help the next generation.
Right.
And that doesn't even just mean like millennial, Gen Z, or anything like that. That could literally just mean like the new rookie at work, or like somebody goes, hey, how do I do this? You point them in the right direction.
Oh, rising tides raise all ships.
Exactly. And that being said, obviously you are not the only iNation DJ. We've talked about DJ Havoc, Paul, earlier. We also, we're both friends with DJ Dart Squire, right? Huge friend of mine. Love you, Ralph. We'll have you on the podcast at some point. But that said, this is the most she has been active during a podcast shoot ever. I don't know if it's just your energy or what, but something has got her in like Zoom mode. She acts like this typically late at night, not this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I brought the darkness, so.
Yeah, well, you know what? Take it back with you.
All
right? I don't need that energy in my house. So, I think I've mostly gotten to the end of all of my pre-prepared questions. So at this point, it's just a matter of talking about your future, like your goals. Where do you want to go in your career as AudioFlesh? What are your like have tos? What are your I've got to get that off my list?
I don't know if I have those as much as I used to before. And the reason I say that is because I used to think that I would be less than if I didn't achieve a certain goal. If I didn't do the thing that someone else I admired did, it made me not as important or somehow devalued my career.
Which is obviously, in hindsight, bullshit.
Right. But that also is a hindsight thing to kind of realize if you're not wise enough to know it before it happens.
There's a lot of things you can only know in hindsight.
Right. So I think with my age, some wisdom has kind of come along. And for instance, like I would love to play the castle in Florida, which is like one of the biggest known
Oh yeah.
goth industrial clubs. I think there's the church in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. There's these goth industrial festivals that I would love to play. And the reason... So when I did the goth industrials thing, people would peg me as like, you're the goth industrial guy. So I would never get booked to DJ other things because...
And I'm not trying to put you in that hole too. I hope I haven't. I hope I've been like...
No, I am comfortable knowing that this is where I come from. I just don't think that people...
You're not limited by that at all.
I think the thing is like traditionally goth industrial DJs are more track selectors. They're more there to make the vibe. So
yeah.
I think the DJ community at large doesn't necessarily take them seriously when it comes to the skill set that kind of comes with like the guarding of like what DJs do. Oh. I've always tried to change that. As soon as I kind of realized, there was a point where I realized, man, I'm not going to get probably much out of Bowling Green if I don't change what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So then one day we're never doing this stuff again unless it's like a special old school night.
Right.
And now from here on out, this is my determination.
Exactly.
So I never get to...
And I appreciate that personally, because as somebody who, like, don't get me wrong, there are a few tracks that if I hear them at, like, a goth night or whatever, that I love. Like, we all love Repo the Genetic Opera.
I hate it.
Of course you would.
Fucking hate it.
Of course you would. Because it's probably something you hear requested all the fucking time. Like, I'm sure if you never hear Zydrate Anatomy in your life ever again, you'd be happy.
I would be ecstatic. I would think that I probably reached the pearly gates of heaven.
Oh, yeah. And that's not saying anything bad about the movie or the show or anything like that. It's just that you, as the person who has to play it every single time somebody wants it played, gets fucking annoying.
I never played it. That's more of, Ralph did that mostly.
Ralph or whoever, but, like, I'm sure you hear the requests. Like, if you're at a place that does requests.
Not anymore.
Really?
There was a time where I would say that I was playing, like, the industrial top 40.
What's the song now that you hear people requesting that, like, as soon as you hear it, you're like, no, fuck off?
Pixel Grip Stamina, and I don't even say fuck off. It's such a banger track. Like, they're so talented. The scene has just shifted. I think that, like, in this town in Bowling Green, when things were hot, it was also hot because people were playing what people wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But the dynamics of the situation were different. It was a weekly club night. There was a sense of responsibility to the business of the bar. Whereas I abandoned all that, mostly because I realized there's other DJs that are going to do that business. Yeah. And if you want to go do your thing, now's the time to, like, fly the other direction as hard and fast as you can. So as I kind of started...
Use your wings before they melt in the sun.
Right. And as I started the interview, I'm trying to create an atmosphere where it's not like bang on the nose, like bang on the banana, you know what you're getting. There's going to be a vibe, and I want you to feel it. I don't want you... I call them double cheeseburgers. Like... There's a menu of songs where people request shit all the time. And to me, that's a double cheeseburger menu. Again, I'm not judging it.
Nothing wrong with the value meal. Some people will eat only the value meal and get by.
They'll also be out of shape and they won't have great health.
No, yeah.
And I'm talking about
I see the metaphor.
And I'm talking about this when I'm talking about the artisan side that you brought up earlier. Is... There's nothing wrong with a double cheeseburger, but I feel like if you give it to them first or you give them it all the time, they expect it.
Yeah.
I like to kind of provide, in my best capability, a 5-course meal like a chef. This song follows this song, and this is the vibe, and you want this, and you don't know that you want it. And in fact, when you have it, you will love it, and you'll want more. And just when you get enough, I will take it away before you're satiated, and I will switch it up because it's going to return.
Close to the end there, you started sounding like the chef from The Menu a little bit when you said you were going to take things away. I'm like, no, don't make the human s'mores now.
Yeah, but then I'll give them a cheeseburger at the end, and it'll all be good.
Yeah. That's literally how the movie ends.
Yeah.
Great fucking movie. I love The Menu.
Me too.
Whoever, I found out the other day that, like, the guy who made The Menu, like, who wrote the screenplay, is, like, a writer on Seth Meyers. And if that is, like... if there is no other reason why we need to protect late night comedy, that's the reason right there. That some random dude who works on Seth Meyers' show can just make a movie as good as The Menu.
Well, I would even argue that that random dude to most people
Yeah.
is a guy who's tailored and honed in his shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
maybe it's because, well, for the same reason like I'm talking about DJing. He probably had to get to where he needed to go, and he didn't have any other way than to do what the blueprint showed him. But eventually, he got sick of the taste of the dollar menu.
Exactly.
And he wrote that movie probably based on, there's just a balance. You can be a little highfalutin too much.
Yep.
But sometimes it's important to keep it simple, and the dollar menu has its reason.
And it's, the whole message of the movie is like, are you a giver or are you a taker, right? And I think definitely very much you're a giver in the way that you play your music, the way that you give out a good positive vibe and everything. And whether or not the people in the crowd are like givers or takers, whether or not they're giving back to their energy or whether or not they're just taking it in and just doing whatever they need to with it, that's a heck of a thing to do. You know what I mean?
I think you'll get this because of comedy. I mean, I really think that comedy, entertainment, I think just conversations. Let's just get rid of the word entertainment.
Yeah.
Let's just say comedy is a form of language, the same that DJing is.
Human connection. It's all
For
human
me,
connection.
a good DJ night is both. Let's say that I play in front of 2 people, and I play a perfect, flawless set.
Mm-hmm.
I can be very proud of that. It's not the same as playing a slightly less mechanically inclined set to, say, 200 people that give it back. To me, a good DJ set is when I tell the crowd what I hope they do, and they eventually do what I ask of them, but they also tell me with their actions what they want next.
Exactly.
And I think you get that with comedy as well, whereas, like, I feed off of them. So, yeah, I can feed off of 2 people, and I can be perfect.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as 200 or so, 2,000 giving it back to you. And
you hear that, internet? It's all crowd work. It's all crowd work. Are you happy now?
And I think to a degree it is. I mean, if you talk to your doctor and you talk to him like an asshole, you'll probably get some kind of asshole response.
Yeah, you give what you take.
Right. So, yeah, I think that communication is just important, to be kind. At the end of the day, if there's one thing that I could say about DJ skill, and I'm sure people will argue with me over semantics.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that the best DJs are the nice ones.
Yeah.
And I say that because, again, you could have someone who's not that skilled. If it's their crowd and they know their crowd and they pack the floor and the crowd loves them, part of the reason a lot of crowds love people is just because they're nice. At the end of the day, if you're kind to me, you can sit at my table. That's the
Right.
lowest common denominator that we can have.
Yeah, and like, I've definitely had some experiences at shows with DJs not in your scene or anything like that. So not anyone who has ever been involved with iNation. So if anybody's watching this and thinking I'm talking about you, no, I'm not. But I've definitely had some DJs who, like, they're kind of self-important. They see themselves as the center of the attention. They see themselves as the party, as like, I am the commander of the show. So therefore, you must praise me. You can kind of just tell when somebody is there for themselves or when they're there for the crowd.
Right.
And you're a very selfless person in the way you perform. In fact, if there's one thing I do like about the way you perform, it's that in some ways it's kind of muted, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really draw too much attention to yourself when you're on stage mixing and when you're on stage, playing with your controller. And I kind of like that in a way, because it makes the focus more about the ear candy, right? And, like, yeah, you have a wonderful presentation. I'm not saying anything bad about that. But I like that it's nuanced. You know what I mean? Is that intentional, or do you just think that that's just something you've fallen into over time?
Both. I think that when I was younger, it was a little bit more about the presentation I wanted to give, it was a little bit more theatrical, especially in the kind of clubs that we were in and the kind of tools we had. A lot of people, when we first started doing production, not a lot of goth industrial clubs had production. In fact, you were kind of like looked at like you want to be in a dingy club. And I just kind of thought that the excuses I heard a lot of people saying, it's like, why don't we deserve the same kind of production? What's this? We have to have like a rope light and a Spencer's strobe light like going on. And I didn't think that was, and there was some judgments there. But the thing is you got to meet people kind of where they're at. So I don't even get mad at like people anymore for being upset for the way that I do it. Like, you want to do it, you do it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, feel free to judge. I'm not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
If you think you're better at this, then why don't you prove yourself right and do it then?
Right? And it's like, and I like that you said that, because for me, it's not about proving anybody wrong. It's about proving yourself right.
Exactly.
And I just don't subscribe to trying to, like, make it what someone else necessarily wants. I like to give them what they are not sure that they wanted and give them surprise.
That's what art's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to, like, meet you where you are and expand your ideas, but also, like, do it in a way that is nuanced and do it in a way that is, like, you know, I guarantee you, if I were to, like, bring my mother to a goth industrial night, or even to an EDM night, she probably would not enjoy the music, right? Because my mother is not the type who grew up with that thing. She grew up more with, like, the Carpenters or, like, you know, hair metal bands from the 80s and stuff like that. So it's just not her scene of music. But I think even if I were to bring my mom, she would enjoy the community aspect of it, right?
Right.
That she would definitely enjoy the production, the show aspect, the visual aspect, right? Because there's a lot of crazy lights and shit going on in these shows. So, like, how much, when it comes to your visual presentation, do you focus on, like, what aesthetics visually are you focusing on when you're making your...
For bigger shows, that's more applicable to bigger shows anymore. Kind of like what...
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, when I was younger, there's more... I was a little more theatrical.
Right.
As I'm older, and that kind of goes with a different direction. When I was younger, I relied on, like, the dollar menu. I relied on, like, I'll give them what they want, and you kind of learn.
But now that you're a little bit more seasoned and stuff, when you are prepping visuals for a show, what type of, like, do you ever, like, go into it with a specific theme for a show, like a specific arc that you're doing throughout your whole set? Or do you take it more track by track for your visual presentation? Do you think about, like, what videos you're going to pair with this song? Or do you think about, like, I'm telling a story throughout my set list, so I have to pair it this way?
If I'm playing an hour set or more, I usually try to think of every hour in, like, 4 pieces. There's the intro, which it just depends how the intro is. Sometimes I like to get them started, and then it's followed by, like, a calm down, which I call it, like, up and down.
It's like a wrestling show. You can't have a spot fest throughout the entire show, because then people are just going to be tired by the main event.
And when there's clubs for that. There are certain sets for that.
Right.
But when you're talking about people and a lot of the stuff that I do, I like to take them, like, on a 4-act journey.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if I start heavy, I like
the 5-course meal, but without the human s'mores at the end.
So I like to start, and then, like, the second act is usually what I call the up and down music, and it's the first act is driving.
Mm-hmm.
The second act is less about the energy being like going forward and just kind of it being there, so you can still enjoy it and still move.
Coasting.
Right. And then the third act is I usually try to bring it down. So it's like
a little bit of a respite, a calm before the storm.
Yeah, it's like a more of a ethereal atmosphere, and then I usually like to finish real strong.
Always finish big, right?
Right.
It's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say, right?
Right.
And what is a fat lady singing, if not the biggest performance you can imagine?
I mean, I like my fat ladies to not be able to sing, so it never ends.
Oh.
So.
I've never heard that one before. That's interesting. But so
I'm not trying to body shame anyone.
No. And for the record, I'm fat. All right, that's the only reason why I'm even saying the word. All right, I've got the gut to prove it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just the nuance stuff means a lot more to me now because I'm not necessarily worried about like wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And like being like crazy. The visual stuff, I like it to be nuanced because I'm not trying to tell people what they should. For instance, like I said, when it comes to track selecting, a lot of people will want to hear like this exact song. I'm not into that anymore.
No, and no, sure, GB.
And like for me, like at the end of the night, like it's the end of the night, last song, I'll throw it to you.
Sure.
But that's if I feel like there's this exchange. If the exchange doesn't happen, I'll just end my set, and it is what it is, and it'll still be good. But I like the nuanced stuff because it's not me telling you exactly how to feel. It's me giving you a clue and you deciding to feel that way if you want to or not.
It's giving people a hint, and then they'll put the rest of the puzzle together.
Right.
Yeah. That's a nice way to put it, actually.
I think when they figure it out, it becomes a more me and them thing.
Gotcha.
Instead of like this weird competition of like, well, the DJ's not playing my fucking song that I put on my phone and tried to show him. And it's like, yeah, well, no shit. There's other bars for that. There's nothing wrong with that, but this isn't what I'm doing. If you want to do what I'm doing, you're going to go for the ride and enjoy it or not. And
exactly.
Most of the time they enjoy it.
I think it was Hunter S. Thompson said in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, you buy the ticket.
Take the ride.
Take the ride, yeah. All right, that being said, moving on, we're getting close to the end of our time here. Mr. AudioFlesh, Sam, it's been wonderful having you on. It's been fucking fantastic.
It's been fun to be here.
Yeah. Dude, we've got to talk more. I know I don't have a car, so it's harder for me to get to events, but we've got to work something out in the future because you're a very intellectual guy. You have a big heart, you have a big Samoan heart, and a lot of personality to share. For anyone who wants to be a part of your show in the future, wants to go on that ride that you're ready to put people on, where can they find you online? And where can they keep up to date with what you've got going on?
Pretty much at AudioFlesh anywhere. If there's a social media thing, you can find it at AudioFlesh, no matter what the social media is for most part.
Lucky. Yeah. I've been trying to keep, like, Shawn Will Comedy as my @ and then there's been a couple of places where it's like, how are there already a guy with that @?
What if you're Shawn Won't?
Well, then I'd have to legally change my name, wouldn't I?
No.
But this is my name.
You're Shawn Will at home. You're Shawn Won't out there.
I will in the streets, I won't in the sheets. Like it. I like it. That joke would work so much better if I was an asexual. Oh, God. It's more like I won't in the streets and will in the sheets, but nobody will with me. But that said, my sad, pathetic dating life aside, what events do you have coming up? This show is going to air not this Saturday, but next Saturday. When do you have any events coming up?
What is next Saturday?
Next Saturday, I want to say is like, my phone's doing the wide shot. I can't look up my calendar because my phone's doing the wide shot.
Well, we'll just say this. October 1st, I'm playing in Columbus, and I'm going to do something not usual.
Gotcha.
We're doing a thing at an event called Orbit at Spacebar, and I'll basically playing like breaks and a lot of like techno house type stuff, like classic rave stuff with a new twist. So it is a little bit different than what I'm used to doing, which I'm really excited for the challenge of it. iNation happens at Frankie's once a month. It's usually the first Friday. We will have some things coming up in Bowling Green.
And if you've never been to iNation, Frankie's is a wonderful place to experience it. We just recently had Crumbly Comedy hosted the Crumbly Cup at Frankie's in Toledo.
Nice.
And I lost in the first round, sadly.
Oof.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a tough comedy world out there. Frankie's is a wonderful venue. It's a great place to come see your favorite or new favorite DJs, right? Anything going on later in October because I can't guarantee this will be out by the 1st. I'll try and clip that and put it on socials and stuff, but...
All I can say is about nuance. Keep your eyes peeled for the end of October.
Okay.
November, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we'll be at Liquid Bar.
Hell yeah.
And we'll be at Frankie's most of the other times, and a lot of pop-up things. So iNation's got a lot of things happening. And then I think December, I'm going to be starting a new night with my wife and one of my best friends who does Wookslayer with me. His name's Vlex. He does a lot of great techno.
Hell yeah.
We're doing a night, Neon Kingdom Presents, which will be an iNation event, but down for Columbus.
Yeah.
I invite everyone to come down for that if you can. Other than that, I think that about covers it.
I'd say I'd see you there, but I can't walk to Columbus, guys. So you have to keep subscribing to this podcast so I can get a fucking car. So, that I think that about wraps things up today, Thank you for being on the show. It's been a fun conversation, for the conversation we could have when my cat here off screen has allowed us.
Made it all the better.
Made it all the better and all the more chaotic, right? So, thank you everybody for checking out this week's episode. I have been Shawn Will. This has been...
Great.
AudioFlesh. He's been great, AudioFlesh. And this has been Shawn Will Be Here, and I hope you will be here next time. Bye!
Yesterday still is not tomorrow.